And we're live. Hi, this is the Spotlight with Damien Carney. So stay tuned. We're going to get started here in just a minute. This is the part that takes the longest. Group. All right, we're live on Facebook.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hang out with us here a second. I'm just going to finish typing something. And we're good to go. All right, so we are live here on Hairdresser's Advice. This is the Spotlight featuring Damien Carney. And Damien Carney is one of our extremely talented talents here on the Beauty Agent Network. So welcome, Damien.
Hello, Bonnie, and thank you. And thank you to everybody that will be involved this evening. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you could certainly join us. And, you know, you've always been one of my favorite artists. I think just based on the amazing work that you do, but also because you always have that different angle from it, being a photographer as well. So I want to hear the story for sure, how you transitioned from artist to photography, but really I want to hear the backstory before all of that. So we're live, everybody, right now. I see the preview just shot up here on Hairdresser's Advice. This is the Spotlight with Damien Carney, and he's getting ready to share with us his real story. So I know that a lot of times people are going Facebook Live and they're showcasing techniques and talents and other opportunities, but the truth is the Spotlight is about the real you and the story behind you and how you got to be where you are.
Well, it's interesting because I think that we all really are quite similar, aren't we? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, we work with hair, whether we color hair, we cut hair, we style hair, no matter where we go, we're dealing with hair in different forms and shapes. But, you know, for me, I was raised in England, in Birmingham, which is second largest city to London, about an hour and a half away on a train. Went to beauty school. And like anyone at beauty school, when you're young and enthusiastic, you want to do a lot of running before you can finally, well, you should start to walk. In other words, study the fundamentals of what hair is about. And I was very lucky because I really enjoyed my 2 years at college. And then while I was at college, I was quite lucky because I found a spot as a Saturday boy, a shampoo boy, in what was called a unisex salon. Hallelujah.
I remember those days.
That was the big thing, you know, men going in there and having their hair blow dried like women. Anyway, the marriage between beauty school and my days of spending Saturday at a salon was really great because the combination of both was really a good marriage. Then I left beauty school after 2 years and then went to work for that salon. And then I had to do more training, which to be expected, absolutely. And that took probably another year. But the point is from that lesson was that we all talk about education, right? But you never know what situation, what show, what program, what event can often sometimes mentally change your mindset and physically change you as a person, and also change the road to your career. So to cut a long story short, I went to a seminar, and it was basically a seminar that had a company called Allen International, Jingles, Sassoons, and Tony and Guy at that time. And I was very influenced by Jingles because they were very avant-garde at that time. Now, did I understand it? No. Did I think, oh my God, I'm going to do that kind of hair? No. But what they did at that time in the 70s, they were doing something that was a little different. And for me, anybody that's listening, no matter whether it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or today, I think it's always important that we always move forward and think of who we are as a brand and what makes us a little different. Jingles had their look. I wrote them a letter, And they had an academy in London. And I was very nervous because, you know, like anybody, somebody would look at me in the salon and ask me to do something. I'd go bright red and literally run away like a little girl in the corner. Yeah. So confidence came later. And I was very clear that I wanted to be with a larger company or organization that was well known for their standard of work. B, they had an academy, and also the other opportunities, which is not just salon work, but runway, teaching, traveling, and all of those kind of things. So I went to Jingles, and again, the word retraining came up, always perfecting your technique. Just when you think you nailed it, things change. And that's the world that we live in. They change even quicker now than ever before. But the fundamentals don't change, but how we do and how we treat them for today, it's where we tweak it, how we apply it, and how we make it very fresh by changing the actual point of view of layering, graduation, painting color, highlights, blonding. I mean, look at the world of blonding now. Is it new? No. But blonding today is one of the biggest #1 services in most salons worldwide. But the blonding systems and techniques are very different than 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or 20 years ago. Anyway, back to the story. Hopefully you're not getting bored out there, everybody. So you're going to find this hard to believe. So I got homesick. So I got homesick having been with Jingles, I think it was maybe 8 months, went through a retraining program. Then I worked as a teacher in the academy and I got homesick. Homesick in England is quite funny because it's an hour and a half on a train. Now, for most Americans, or any Americans now that I live in New York that's listening, an hour and a half in American terms is nothing. So I went back home, and then very quickly, within a matter of weeks, I knew that I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Now, anybody listening, or you, Bonnie, have you ever done something and you kind of think, well, I'm not sure, and you go back to what you were before, or what you were doing, and then suddenly you realize, hallelujah again. I realize I know what I want. I realize I'm much clearer in what I want. So therefore, I'm going to address it and go back to that. So anyway, back on a train, and then basically I was back in London. And then what I'd done is I worked in a salon with a friend of mine. Again, another educational offering came up. And that was, there was a show called the Weller Vogue at that time. And it was a photographic competition in conjunction with Weller. And everybody could enter it, very similar to NAHA and all these other wonderful competitions that are going on worldwide. Anyway, long story short, the same thing happened to me again. This one presentation came out, and there was a row of models that came out, and the music was just like spectacular, and the hair was amazing, and it was the incredible Trevor Sorbie.
Oh, well, that's a turning point right there.
Well, I knew how wonderful he was. I knew what he was about, but to experience him, to see it, was really something I couldn't describe. So again, my courage got up. So I wrote him a letter. This one was better than the previous experience. So I basically shared my passion, and he was like, yeah, we're always looking for talented people. Come and have an interview. So I had 3 models that he requested. One was a 1 length, one was a layering, and one was layering, graduation, and 1 length. So I had to bring 3 models. I had to find them, had to get them on a train, I had to make it happen. So I had to show my organizational skills and that I was truly passionate, rather than, oh, well, I can't find 3 models, Trevor, and I'll never make it. Well, anyway.
And what were you in, like early 20s at this point, Damien?
Actually, later. It was probably, I was in my 27, 28.
Okay, all right.
You know, and that was an interesting point, Bonnie, because, you know, is that a time where I thought, you know, I was really kind of getting somewhere, and I'd really mastered a lot of things, but I hadn't mastered what Trevor could do. I hadn't mastered what had gone on in Trevor's eyes. It really, to me, it was the quality and how he thinks, how he organizes his creative thoughts, and how he stands out from the crowd. Mm-hmm. At the time, he only had 1 salon, which was in Covent Garden, and he also had an academy. So I had to retrain. So anyway, he checked my haircuts hair by hair, and I think there's more finger chopping than probably what there was good haircuts. But anyway, he could see that I was capable of, you know, delivering a certain standard, but not to his standard. Long story short, within a few training sessions, I think it was a couple of months, I had to do a focus on bobs one day, graduation, and so forth. The result of that is you have a test. This test is touch and go. On the evening of that test, you know whether you're hired or you are fired. And you have to present 12 models that are all pre-done. They have their makeup done, and you have to have wardrobe and some concept to your look. And then Trevor himself will go through and check every single haircut. Well, I've never sweated so much in my life, and I felt like a little baby that, you know, had no control over his techniques. And every haircut that he went through, I could see so many things wrong with it, but it really wasn't that bad, right? But the point being is he changed my world. And all the team of people at that time, Vivian McKinder was there, Eugene Solomon was there at that time, Antoinette was there from Aveda, Ruth Roach was there. So he created a culture which is still known for today for bringing out a lot of unique creativity. Long story short, I then decided to go on my own in London, in Covent Garden. And that's where I decided, who am I and what do I want to be? Have you ever thought to yourself, you know, we've been trained, we go down these avenues of people inspiring us. We go down and sometimes tick the boxes of our career. But at the end of the day, if you can ask yourself, who are you, what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you want to do, and to be slightly different than the others, that's a really tough set of questions to answer, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, because it's a bit like the baby, you know, or the child, the teenager that leaves home. After leaving home, it discovers a whole other world. And that's where, you know, being in education, it's my passion, because everyone comes to an academy or a mentor or a teacher. But I know it's been said many times, but you learn so much by teaching yourself, because you learn to navigate the negatives, the positives, the good, the bad, and you can hopefully, you know, read inside out. And that's how, you know, it also started off into photography. I'm not a photographer professionally, but I've got better at it. Although it's a little bit easier today, and I mean, in terms of being able to look at an image and change it. I remember, you know, the film days and Polaroid, and you had to wait. So you had to wait, hoping things were going to come out. Today, digital is very, very instant, that you can look at it and you can alter it, and you go, I don't like the lighting, I don't like the posing, etc. But what I've learned through photography is to see my work in a very different way. It's almost like having another eye, or a different perspective. Because when we're working in a salon, or we're working in an academy, or a routine, whatever your routine of life is, sometimes we can overlook the little things that are actually enormous to the quality of and the standard of what you want to achieve yourself or within the company. So for me, photography is not only another chapter or another branch on a tree for hairdressing. It's really a unique way of looking at my work. And sometimes what I think is quite nice, when the camera takes a picture of it, is a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, when you made a couple of good points there, Damien, that it's ever changing. Like, I could not go back and do hair right now, because I would feel stupid on, you know, all of the techniques that I did 10 years ago to the techniques I would be doing now. And it's ever evolving. And I know that we've always said that education is like the number one thing you have to kind of stay true to continue to be successful in this industry. And now more than ever, because the clients are demanding that. They're walking in and asking for balayage. So guess what? You better know how to balayage.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, I mean, you're aware of this. You're a savvy lady in the industry, in the sense of, you know, we look at media and we look at Facebook, Instagram, and all these kind of things. But the reality is, nothing beats anything in the sense of going to an academy or a learning environment where you're working on a head of hair, or you're working on a mannequin. And yes, we can use the tools that we have in media on those sites and so forth. But the reality is, you need somebody with you to shadow you, to guide you, to support you, and to bring a more modern perspective. Because things change so quickly. If you're not aware of that, you simply get left behind. Clients have choices, and they're not shy, and they shouldn't be shy of choosing the salon that they want to go to. The salon that is different than the salon down the road. You know, at the end of the day, it's having something unique, and it could be the experience of walking through the door, the way that somebody greets you, your consultation, the products that you use, how you make that person look beautiful, not only with great techniques, with color, cutting and everything else, but right from leaving the salon, that head of hair is saying your brand and saying that individual's this is my work, Damien Carney. Now that will attract more business and so forth and so forth. So I think it's really interesting to rise above, and it's the same in any industry. The best will stand out from the crowd. And I do believe no matter what age you are, whether you're trendy, progressive, individual, classic, no matter what your sense of style, people, male, female, will always pay for something that is a little bit more than what they can sometimes can afford, because there's a sense of luxury, there's a sense of expense, there's a sense of, oh, I've worked hard, I need a treat. And that's what we do every day with people's hair. We make people look and feel beautiful.
We do. What would you say, how would you define your brand?
Well, my brand's really, I believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, I do work in a salon on a Friday and Saturday when my schedule allows me, because I think that's really important to stay true to what's going on in the salon world as much as the education. But my whole life, really, since I started in my mid-20s and now in my 50s, has been in education. And that could be in an academy. I'm a mobile person. And I suppose I'm a bit like a pop-up shop. You know, people can hire Damien to take photography. They can have me, you know, do mentoring on a one-to-one, which is becoming increasingly popular.
Yes.
One-on-one coaching. I mean, it could be cutting, it could be coloring. And I've got a group and team of people that I work on bigger projects. Could it be a show or a seminar or so forth? But most of it really is education. Going back to what you're saying, when people think of me, hopefully they'll think nice things, but I care about what I do. I want, no matter what I do, for people to have a great experience. So I'm a great believer in positive energy, although I'm not spiritual, as so to speak. I think what you put out there is what you get back.
Yeah.
You're going to have a creative day, or you're going to have a successful day, you will. But at the end of the day, when people look at my photography or they look at Damien, I'd like them to think that there's just a little twist of something. I've not invented a haircut. I've not been like these iconic hairdressers that truly have created a hairstyle that has changed the face of the hair world, and everybody's going to wear that hairstyle. No. But what I do is I do know my material. I do know my stuff, and I know how to work it from a very commercial aspect all the way to something that's really quite edgy. And I love bringing the best out of people. That's what I'm really good at doing, coaching, mentoring. And I think that's a result really of what I've experienced. So I think when we experience something, we can give back, and we can be better at giving what we've experienced ourselves.
Yeah. And I can see that. I can see you being a really easeful coach to be able to guide people to some of those places that I think are fearful for us to cross over. You know, really being able to be that precision cutter, or maybe looking at color from a different perspective, and how the light hits it and how photography hits it. You know, those are different elements that you offer and are unique as an educator to any of the people that would want to be trained by you. But I just see you as one of those people that I feel like I could go to Damien, and Damien would make me feel good about learning something new.
I think it's really important, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this, I've experienced some shitty experience when I've been educated. Forgive the language, but I think nobody learns anything if they feel uncomfortable, they feel nervous, they feel threatened. And we all feel that, no matter who we are or wherever we are. They are the natural things as human beings we feel. And if we don't feel them, then probably there's something wrong with you. You probably, have no feelings at all. But I think it's important that we challenge ourselves to continue to have those positive feelings about the fear factor. And at the end of the day, that's what I try to do, because at the end of the day, I want somebody to come to me, or I get on an airplane, I go to them. I want them to have a good time. I think it's important to have fun, but not to lose sight of that. A lot of people can take the fun aspect into partying and, oh, I love doing what I'm doing because it's this. But for me, there's a message behind it all. And it's not only just for me, it's about making the industry better. It's making the industry have better standards, and it's leaving it in a better place than what it was yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you are definitely an award-winning hairdresser, so you've won several awards, and it seems like it kind of falls a little bit into that avant-garde realm. What had you be interested in that?
Because I love looking at fashion magazines. I love looking at people on the street. I love looking at, runway. And I love looking at them all because there's something exciting about them. There's something different about them. The word bland doesn't come into my, vocabulary. I don't like gray. I don't like vanilla. I'm not a wild kid. But I like things, when I look at a magazine, I don't want reality. I want to look at things that have a little bit of an edge. I think avant-garde can be misrepresented as being, unusable. But from all things that are unusable, crazy things, new ideas or new techniques can be diluted down and made commercial.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is to stimulate. And I think at the end of the day, my work is a little bit more avant-garde. I try to make it beautiful as I can. And I think you can have a beautiful bob, and you can have somebody with beautiful spiky hair, and you can have beautiful people with piercings in their face, and you can have beautiful people with whatever. But it doesn't apply to all, because the world of fashion is so diverse today that we look at trends.
Anything goes.
In seconds now.
Yeah. Yeah. So how, in this transition that you did between being kind of avant-garde and a little edgy, and then learning the photography piece, I mean, what was it for you that captured that moment of, I need to put this on film. I need to be the one behind the camera here?
It came out of necessity and desperation, if I'm honest with you, Bonnie. At the end of the day, sometimes, have you ever kind of hung around friends that are not in our industry? And you know a lot about their business, and you've socialized, you've seen them at work, and you kind of think, I could have a go at that, right? Because you know quite a bit about it. Of course, you need to dive in and learn more. But that was, for me, was with photography. I loved some of the photographers' work, but that I wanted to work with. They didn't want to work with me because I couldn't afford it, or they looked at my hairstyles or hair as just being silly hair. So the good photographers, I've got some great photographer friends who've been very generous in helping share techniques and ideas with me. And I thought, you know what? A camera is like a tube of hair color. A camera is like a pair of scissors. There's very expensive ones and there's not so expensive ones. A tube of color comes alive when you squirt it and you add peroxide, and then you mix it and then you apply. A camera is mechanical. So it's affected by speed and by light. And at the end of the day, what happens is, if you understand all about photography and you understand about beauty and proportion and balance, then at the end of the day, you learn a lot about it. You learn a lot about lighting techniques, you learn about posing techniques, but you do this when you're consulting a client.
Right.
A client sits in the chair and we should know what's going to look good on them. Now, a client may have a fixed idea, but if that idea isn't working out, I will suggest other alternatives that will complement the face, the body, and everything else, and their sense of styling their hair. But for me, I live in New York now. I used to live in LA, which I loved and enjoyed. I'm a city person. I love the seasons. I love when it's freezing, when it's hot, and all of the seasons in between, because to me, there are dramatic changes with fashion and hair. New York's a melting pot with creative people, of makeup artists, models, wardrobe stylists, and it's really finding a team of people where you can collaborate and kind of work on an idea together. And for me, hopefully, if people have been seeing my work, hopefully they see a growth of quality, of changing with the wardrobe, the makeup, the models, and everything else. I'm selling hair, but I don't want my hair pictures to look like they're a typical hair picture, because at the end of the day, hair is fashion and hair is makeup and hair is a total look. So I think we can sell hair, just like this girl's hair is slicked back. Is it commercial? There's no hair here, but that was a beauty shot that I did. This is avant-garde hair. No one's going to wear it, but it's about having a bit of fun. But I get more reaction about that, and that's most important. I think it's important that we get a reaction to, sometimes whether it's a client, you're building a team, you're traveling, rather than that gray, bland area. I'd rather somebody say, I hate that, or I love it, but I want to get reaction, and I'm not offended either way.
Yeah. Well, I've been showcasing all of your photography portfolio from your website, which is damiencarney.com, for those of you that are interested, where these images are coming from that I'm showcasing right now. Now, did you do all the hair as well on the photography portfolio? Yes.
Believe it or not, this is shot in my apartment. It's a tiny little apartment. It's a white wall, believe it or not. That's the size of what you can see. These are all wigs. I don't always use wigs, but I use sometimes a percentage of them. when I'm working on my own, this was just me and model and makeup and very minimal wardrobe. And it was like we were having a conversation in my kitchen. And basically, this is a real hair. But sometimes you use a combination, that's a wig. So the great advantage about using wigs is a wig has no feeling. It's just a lump of hair that you have to style, cut, color, and bring it into some kind of shape or design, whatever you have in mind. This is a real haircut. This is just silly stuff. It looks like she's got ice cream on her head or foam. Oh, that was about 4 years ago. But the point being is by using wigs, I can prepare about 12 of them, and I can get a lot of looks out of one model. So that's what I do for that reason. Plus, it means that I can focus a little bit more on my photography because I've already worked on my hair out beforehand regarding the concept. If I'm using real hair, then I'll go from one look, the model's own hair, I'll go from one look to the other, to the other, to the other.
Yeah.
They're kind of a bit fun and, you know, and a little silly in some ways. I don't think they're too serious. And a lot of the models that I work with and the teams that I work with seem to enjoy it. So I have no problems in getting models or working with teams. Having said that, 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, no one would want to work with me at all. Because remember, no matter what career we're in, whatever we're doing, we've got to surround ourselves with people that are better than us so we can grow and develop. So I've been very fortunate that, you know, I've often shot for other hairdressers. So, you know, I can shoot their hair. This is Rossa Janus, who's basically a wonderful hair colorist. This was a shoot that we did that she wanted as an editorial story. And this is a real model. It's a real hair. Love that image. I think it's very strong. And that's it. So that's what we're selling. It's not Italian Vogue. It's not Elle. We're aware of that. However, but within the pictures that we can do when we're talking hair, I think it looks more fashion. And I have to say, for all the competitions that go on, NAHA in North America, Contessa in Canada, and all these wonderful ones that are going on worldwide, like the British Hairdressing Awards. I mean, they go on. Each country now has an awards that you can submit photography. And the wonderful thing about that is it really challenges some of these famous hairdressers worldwide to really bring in the cream of their crop when it comes to a shoot. And it's inspiring because at the end of the day, it drives so much inspiration to assistants that want to join the industry, people that are a little tired and maybe need rejuvenating. And people can sometimes look at it and think, I'm going to have a try. I'm going to do that. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. So that's the great thing about an image. An image, with the click of a button, can sell your brand or destroy your brand within a heartbeat.
That is true. That's true, along with your professionalism and your communication. All right, so Damien, I have a question for you, and you might not want to answer it in the way that others may answer it for you, but I want to hear your answer on this. Would you say that you're a mentor, a master, or an icon?
I'm a mentor. Because at the end of the day, I suppose I'm a mentor more than any of the others. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an icon. I haven't really deserved anything to be an icon. But I think I'm a mentor because I really care when people come or I go to them about I'm good at building a team. I'm good about building and extracting the good qualities that are within a person. I want to see them grow. That gives me enormous pleasure. So that, if I'm honest with you, is on the top of my list. And the more I mature in the career, the more value I have on it. And I love seeing people grow, and I love to see those, you know, light bulb moments where somebody goes, I got it now. It's time for me to fly and do my own thing and leave the nest and whatever. And I think at the end of the day, if we think of what we do, the right words or a little bit of a time or a little bit of a chat or a little bit of a hug and a little bit of support can do so many things for people, right? Because we know behind our successful careers, there's been somebody wonderful that stood by us in even the most difficult or challenging times. But I'm talking myself.
No, but it's so true. There's somebody that kind of connected with us at a point where we felt as though we learned something that could bring us to the next level, had us be more successful with our clients. I mean, that was always that was always what I was looking for as a hairdresser myself. And you know, sometimes it came out of the most obscure ways. It wasn't that I was in a formal education class. It was just having a conversation with somebody like you, that you shared something and it would be like, oh, wait, I get it. I get the way you just described that's what I've been doing wrong, or that's what I haven't been able to understand, or that's where I was afraid to approach it. Because I think from where you're at this point, people have to unlearn what they've learned before they can learn what they need to learn in order to get to that next level. It's not layering on to what we already know a lot of times. Sometimes it's unlearning the stuff that hasn't been working for us very well, or unlearning it because the trends have changed and there's just a new way of creating the movement, the look, the color placement, right?
It's just like going to the gym, you know, not that I'm an expert in going to the gym, but you need to work all your muscles, right? If you keep working the same ones, then basically you're not really going to get very far. So it's always about mentally changing. Here you're seeing some images that are a little bit more from editorial. They're different photographers. It's not my photography. But that's where I learned different tips and tricks from working with photographers. And here you can see more fashion is involved. So it's not just a hairstyle. It's about the makeup going with the hair, going with the wardrobe, going with how it's been shot. So it's working with a team, you know, so it's working with a team to create a concept. And at the end of the day, your salon is a concept. Your chair is a concept when people walk into you. Who are you? What are you about? What is your philosophy? What do you want people walking away experiencing and feeling? So I learned a lot in studios and working with different teams. And it's important that I don't become so self-indulgent by adding too much of my own hair in a fashion shoot that it overrides the makeup, the wardrobe, and everything else. So in short, I've got to allow other people to express their creativity and not be the dominant one. So I think that's really important when those are out there doing photo shoots with other people. It's not always about you. It's about the team and what you're all going to contribute. And you can take that into a salon. Without a team, you don't have a business. If you're without a team, you're an island on your own. Without a team, you can get very lonely. So it's important that when a client walks into a salon, they feel that energy from a team. And the staff that work there, they will stay with you. They will be loyal if there's goals and there's teamwork and there's team spirit. It's an easy formula. It's sometimes a lot of people think it's hard. It isn't, and it is. You've just got to get used to practicing it and putting it into your manuals and into your everyday life. And then it becomes part of your culture, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, especially now with a lot of independents out there, you know, I can tell you that they are looking for education. They're looking for that ability because they're not working for a salon that's kind of providing in-salon education like I think what we were used to in our generation of hairdressers. So now they're all out there. They're hungry for education. And I think what's happening is that they're getting mediocre education a lot of times. Maybe it's based on price. Maybe it's based on convenience or location. But, you know, the whole reason why the Beauty Agents Network exists is to be able to let people know that all of these educators are available to be in your area. They're available for one-on-one. And I can't tell you that everybody that's made the commitment to invest in education has said that it's been well worth it, especially with some of the mentors like you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I don't give anything away free, Bonnie. I don't give my clients anything free. I don't see any purpose or reason. Why would one want to do that? You know, because at the end of the day, we can sometimes sell ourselves short of what we serve and what we do. And there's different people. People like to work in a big salon. People like to work in a medium salon. Some people like to work independently on their own. It just depends on what floats your boat, what inspires you. I like to be around a team of people, but if it's too many people, it's chaos. That I've experienced. So I'm kind of a small, medium-sized person when it comes to working with teams, because at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like I'm left out or, you know, my opinions are invalid or they're not up for debate, because at the end of the day, team can be great. But if you're not having a great team spirit in a salon environment, working on your own can be very peaceful. And sometimes it can be very gratifying because you feel you're responsible, you're doing your own thing, you can call the shots when you want. And each to their own. I mean, you know, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier on. What really inspires you, what really triggers you to go to work every day and think, wow, I'm going to feel really good about doing what I'm doing. And I can see I'm going to continue this for X amount of years. But routine and boredom are the two things that are the reason why people change, leave from a hairdresser's point of view or a client's point of view. And that's it. So we've got to keep everything fresh, just like your love life. Just like walking the dog, we've got to break it up. We've got to make the routine. Otherwise, the dog's walking around the block doing the same thing. It gets bored. I know my dog does. So that's the reality. And it's quite a similar formula, a simple formula, but it's practicing. Sometimes the simple things are hard for us to implement. I'm no different. It's really building it into our everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, what type of clients are coming to Damien Carney when you have a clientele in New York City?
You know what? They're the same as anywhere else in the world. To me, everybody, you know, having traveled pretty extensively globally around the world, everyone thinks that, you know, of course, there's a certain client will be attracted to a price point. There'll be a certain client that'll be attracted to a certain location. There'll be a certain client attracted to a certain hairdresser. But clients are clients. And I've got my long-haired clients that don't want much off. I've got my clients that say, do whatever you want, but don't do much. And I've got my clients that trust me for what I do. And I love them all. Because at the end of the day, Bonnie, if everybody came in and wanted all wacky stuff or all whatever, maybe I'd get bored with that too. I love doing very simplistic, beautiful work. I love very edgy stuff, no matter what length. The point is, I want somebody to walk into the salon, and when they leave me, Damien, I feel beautiful. And they could be 16, 60, or 240 years old. It doesn't matter. But I work in Soho, and, you know, the Gucci stores in the same street. All the designers are all there. It's a fantastic location. But this a salon has this similar kind of things, you know, but it goes back to your branding as a salon. What are you known for? When somebody thinks of your salon and the name above your door, what do they think of? Great colorist, great hair cutter, maybe a combination of everything. Or I don't like going to that salon because everybody's just like whatever. Or I don't like going to that salon because they had the worst color in the world. So we have to think of what we offer. But New York is a melting pot, just like any cities. The only difference is the smaller cities just have smaller percentages of restaurants to choose from, nightclubs, shopping areas, trendy people. But, you know, New York's the same as anywhere else. And actually it's the same gig when I was in London. You know, I don't see it that separate anymore, because guess what? A client now can go on the internet and they can click and see the runways there and then. They can buy their clothes online from that designer direct now, and so forth. So we live in that kind of world. I think it's really important that we're aware of that. And I actually love what's going on culturally with this mixture of trends, because we're not putting people in square pegs into round holes. We're not putting body shapes into hairstyles that are unsuitable just because it is the trend. I think we're a bit more mature now and a little bit more sophisticated in looking at a client as a whole person, not just head and shoulders with a cape on. And at the end of the day, no matter what your skin type, your body shape, your ethnicity, at the end of the day, everybody is beautiful and they should feel that. And they have the right to feel that way. When they pay their tab at the end of the day, they should really, really do that. And that gives me great pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And listen, the clients are so sophisticated now. They're so savvy, and they want what they want, and they're expecting us to be able to deliver because the world, you know, this world it's moving so fast. They have access to so much now that they can, you know, bring in what they want. And as hairdressers, we better be prepared to deliver. We better be prepared to be able to do that look. Not taking into consideration if it's not the right look for them, but you have to be able to have good communication skills to be able to have that conversation of what you think might be best, because you're the expert, you're the professional, and you're the one that they're coming to.
Well, it's interesting because I think at the end of the day, sometimes we hear this, and I say this less as I've matured because I've come creative, a little bit more organized. I don't have the time for that. And it goes down to time management, right, Bonnie? It's about putting into priority what's really important to you. And the social aspect is very, very important. And anybody that ignores that is really going to end up being a dinosaur and will end up killing their business.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is putting into priority what is going to build your business and what's going to build your team and build your brand and everything else. So it's building it into your everyday exercise of running a business. Yes, it does take time to go on your computer, but at the end of the day, it can also build a pretty substantial business. And it can build a pretty substantial branding about who you are and what you want to do. Let's face it, we all Google or Yelp reviews on literally everything. Go food, go shopping, going on vacation. So we've got to be aware that those clients will make comments, and those clients can be great advocates for your business. You know, those who love your hair will share the message. One good client will attract 4, and then it'll multiply. So I just think, again, it's common sense. And that's what I live my whole world on Post-it notes. And I have them every day. There you go.
They're all over my desk.
I do add them onto my computer and make it a little bit more modern. But the point here is I have probably on average maybe 15 or 20 all at one time every day. Now, do I address all of them? Absolutely not. The top 3 will get shifted and put away, and then the next top 3 go up. So that's what we have to do with our social media. Take pictures of your work. Don't be shy of sharing the idea. Befores and afters are really, really great. Clients love to know that you are an expert in those fields. And they love the reality that you can take everyday people and share it, and they can see a visible difference of making something incredible.
Damien, since you are the photographer and the master artist, I'm gonna upgrade you to master and mentor artist. What is a tip you can provide everybody right now of taking a picture that's going to be posted in order to build your business? Because I notice that a lot of them, they're always taking it from the back of the head. And my assumption is, you know, for client privacy, but what's the best angle they should be doing in order to really showcase their work?
There isn't really one. However, you know, at the end of the day, I think if people want to see a face, I think there's that connection. You know, if you're doing a before and after, just like we're split right now on a screen, it's better than, it's a good format too. It makes it more interactive, right? So before and after side by side are a great way of doing that. I think when you're shooting it, they don't have to, I think this is where everybody gets mixed up. They don't have to look like they're professionally shot somewhat. And there is somewhat an idea, a ring flash, you can get them now on Amazon and anywhere. You can go out into a daylight that's not direct sun, and that's very, very flattering. But you want something that's going to have that appeal where everyone goes, wow, she looks great. But she doesn't look, or he, but they don't look retouched. They don't look like a supermodel. They're not trying to be a fashion model. They just look incredibly so much better. Look at how the color looks different on the skin tone. Look at the volume, or maybe the hair's been cut and they just look a lot more youthful or a little bit more fresh. So you can just use your iPhone. The latest iPhone now has one of the greatest camera for videos and also for stills. And I just use that a lot when I'm working on my clients. Just make sure that you keep this clutter free. You make it a little bit more fun. You know, maybe you shoot 10 or 15 that have a little bit movement, or start talking to the client and an expression, maybe a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of makeup, but don't make it to, the whole objective is to make it the real world of somebody looking a million times better than what they did 2 hours ago or an hour ago. And I think the authentic honesty about that is really what is very, very appealing. If you're uncertain about a picture and you have to think more than 10 seconds, don't post it.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So much.
And I think it's really, see, it starts with that conversation. So if you said to the client, I'd love to be able to do a before and after picture for you because it's helping me to build my Instagram following to get new clients, they're going to be like, oh, I can help you with that. They probably would say yes. And it creates that opportunity to engage and communicate with them. And then, you know, some people might be shy about it where they're just like, oh, no, I don't like my picture taking. And then maybe it's a side angle or something interesting that you could do. And maybe I still think it's a conversation first, because if they know you're trying to build your clientele, I promise you that your own clients are going to help you. Like what you just said, one client with a good referral could bring in 4 more.
And I think it's how we say it, you know, it's like anything. It's like, I want to cut your hair off short to make it all spiky. That's not really a very nice way of addressing something and trying to encourage somebody to go shorter, because they're thinking, ugh, yeah? Or how about going shorter and creating this nice soft, you know? So verbiage and language, just like your consultation, you know, most clients are actually very, very flattered. I find they're very flattered and thrilled to be asked to have their pictures. What, me? Really? Yes, you.
Yeah,
Or
true.
it's, no, I don't want my picture taken. You can't win them all, and it's okay too. But again, it goes back to not necessarily the photographic quality as in trying to make them look like a model, but less is more, and be selective about what you want people to look at when they look at that picture. It should scream hair color. It should scream a great makeover. It should scream that you're not just all about cutting, you know, 20 to 30-year-olds. You have a range and a gamut within your work that you can apply. You know, you can work with curly hair, you can work with relaxed hair. I mean, the list goes on. I think at the end of the day, again, practicing it and trying it out, it's a little bit tricky at first, but once you continue, you'll find your own little road, won't you? You'll find what your little look is about. And it does get easier and easier as it goes along. It's the fear factor. If it don't work and you don't like the picture, you delete it and you trash it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that the next picture is going to be the same. The next picture could be absolutely amazing, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I want to be able to get to, because you do have an educational event coming up that would be a great opportunity for people to participate with.
Yes, it is. It's with the wonderful Nicholas French, and I know that a lot of people love and
Another
know
great
Nicholas.
mentor.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's a great sharer, very great and talented. And he has this amazing facility in Palm Springs called Sky4. And it really is spectacular. And what I love about it is it's a learning environment, but it's unlike any learning environment. So it's not sterile. It's got a pool. You can sometimes teach outside, you know, the breakout rooms, the demonstration rooms. It's a bit like being in Nick's home and having a one-to-one in a small group setting, but it's, you know, small group of 15 usually, and probably sometimes 12. But the reality is it's a unique format. Both Nick and I are going to go through, you know, styling hair and tips on photo shoots, and also covering about media, but basically getting into Nick and I's world. So we're going to share that. And it is Sunday the 26th and the 27th of August. So you can go on to www.nicholasfrench.com. You will find on his education site, you'll find more information about how you can sign up or basically get involved. But again, you know, we go back into education. When I was young and I was on the salon floor and I was, you know, earning a little bit of money, I'd have my little tip jar. So my tip jar, I wouldn't spend it all and go, you know, waste it. I would put money in my tip jar that at the end of the year, I had X amount of money that I could choose to go on and away somewhere as a tool to be educated on something new. It's amazing.
It's so true to do that. August 26th and 27th, you said, right?
Yeah, August 26th and 27th. That's Sunday and Monday. Yeah. And it's a great facility, and it's great because not only is it a great format and the content, it's a great, beautiful weekend. And I think it's important to get away from your everyday life. And I'm no different, you know, so I have my goals where I'm like, I need my Damien time. And it could be many, many ways of receiving education.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, well, here it is. I just posted it up on the hairdresser's advice. So it's on there if people are interested in attending that. And then anything else you got going on this fall?
Well, it's busy. You know, usually fall's a little busy. I've got, you know, the trade shows that will be coming up, and I've got a lot of photo shoots that are going on and quite a few trips back to London. Yeah, so it's a busy, busy time. But it's not every weekend, Bonnie. You know that. Within the world that we live in. And I think when people look at what we do, they think we do this every single weekend of the year. We'd be dead and we'd be dry as a bone when it comes. We'd be exhausted. But it's a very seasonal business, just like the salon. January, February is dead, and November, December, everyone wants their haircut for Christmas. So with what we do, it's seasonal. So I have my downtime. I think it's important to have that, because at the end of the day, you can end up burning out and working so hard that sometimes you can't see where you're going and what you're doing. So it's a busy remaining 2018, and I'm already got dates and planning for 2019. Yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Damien, you've been amazing. And again, I love your work. And I know that I'm going to put you up in that master, soon to be icon category, and classify you there, because you really do. I know that you mentor people, and that's who you are in spirit. You're mentoring people. But I think that there's more to you. I think there's more to you.
Well, back at you, the same for you, what you're doing. I think lovely, because it's different, and it's Bonnie, and it's your vision with your team. And I think it has great value. I look at everything, I listen to everything that you do, and I see light bulb moments and a seed being sown, and I think, that just went off for me. So thank you for having me. And thank you to everybody that's listened. And they can also send some little comments later on. We can always address them as time goes by. And thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. And don't be shy of reaching out. Even if it's a few weeks later or months later, we'll catch up on the questions. And questions are good because it opens the debate and pushes the hair industry forward.
Oh, it definitely does. So Damien Carney can be found on the Beauty Agent Network, and you can go on there to his profile, and you can click a button and you'll get directly to him if you have questions for him. Of course, you can also go to his website, damiencarney.com. And again, I really want to make sure that everybody understands that we're educators educating, and we're out there doing it all day long. That's what your passion is. And now we just always need the willing students so that we can continue to elevate our industry. And as I always say, and my tagline here is to make education the #1 selling product.
I couldn't agree with you more. Beautifully said, Bonnie. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.